This time on Money Shift Garage, we compare two enduros that couldn't be more different.
Yeah, one's quality.
So behind me I have my 2001 KTM 200EXC. It is a 200cc two-stroke. A little less on-road ready than this feller's over here.
I got myself a 2019 Honda 450RL, 450L. And it is fuel injected, 450 cc's of Honda quality, wrapped in a bow of very streetable suspension and tires, quiet, and 100% road legal, plates and all, turn signals, horn, you name it, it's got it. So
yeah, he's got that nice electric start. I'm over here kicking the crap out of mine, you know, and I have a carburetor.
Fuel injection's a hell of a thing.
It really is. I really want one of those fuel injected two strokes, but yeah, so I'll give you a quick run around of these bikes here.
Here's the old KTM. Couple differences, I guess. We got a hydraulic clutch on this one, cable on that one. I don't have any turn signals, brake lights, just a headlight. He's got all the fancy lights and mirrors.
Also bone stock, OEM, expired warranty as of a couple months ago. Bought it with 0 miles, but it sat on the showroom floor for a year or two, so got it for a little bit better of a price.
I got a FMF Gold Series gnarly pipe and FMF, I think it's the Shorty silencer. I think. I don't know.
It's the plug silencer.
Yeah, I put too much oil in my gasoline a couple rides ago, and we're still trying to burn all that out. I'm probably gonna take the silencer apart to fix it, but yeah, we're gonna take these two on a rip and let you know the differences and kind of how they compare to each other. Even though they are so totally different, they were kind of built to do the same thing, sort of. His is a little more road focused, mine's a little more dirt focused, but we'll see.
Dual sport means best of both worlds, so that's exactly what we're going to find out.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I hit it pretty fast too. Damn it! Let him get a head start. I was freaking pinned for like half of that.
Yeah, I think we were 78 was top. I was at.
Yeah, you were leading me a little bit. Power's back, baby! Power's back!
Came in this way. The right lane.
Knees are feeling it.
Yep.
I'm a
do you
little
think?
surprised myself. Oh, sorry to take the
No,
wheel
go
there.
ahead. Go for it.
KTM, can't beat a 2-strokes power band. I rode a little bit of both. He rode mine and all that. Straight line performance. I was a little dissatisfied due to the price tag difference on how close it was. Still, Honda prevailed. I mean,
You got like probably another gear or two on me too. On the highway, you probably got another gear or so. Keep on pulling. What I noticed about the Honda suspension's quite a bit stiffer than the old KTM. I think that's probably for on-road stuff. And engine braking, it's got way more engine braking. You notice that right away.
drop a gear, it
Yep.
puts your pelvis right into the bars almost there.
Yep.
And as the Honda 450Ls are very notorious for, I did experience a flame out, which is too low of RPM, more or less. But clicked the button, took right back off again. Just had to tell the clutch to bear a little bit more weight, and we went right over the obstacles.
Yeah.
So, Danny also fails to include the fact that one of his forks is no longer in the chat. It is
Yeah, there's oil running down one of them. And
rust prevention, but
yeah. She's old, okay? She's got 22 years of life going.
it is like sitting on a log.
Yeah.
And
Both of these bikes are kind of that way. And they got a little bit of a hard seat. Stand up and ride more in the stand-up position. It's not so bad.
KTM has definitely got more cushion of a suspension and everything. I mean, you go to plan into a dig around a corner or something like that. But at the same token, you hit a rut or you hit a bumper or something in the road, I mean, it just swallows it right up, and the old Honda kind of jostles you around a little bit there. So who knows? Could be adjusted out, could just need revalved, or it could need
set up for
springs.
your weight. Maybe they got a heavier kind of rider in mind when they designed the big 450.
Finding out as well, mine's got basically the exact same suspension as what the race bikes, the 450Rs have, and same motor bottom end wise, but I got one exhaust valve, and it's also got less compression, therefore yielding
More torque. Well,
15 less horsepowers and less power. So
less picky on the gas and little better on emissions. I think that's probably most of the reason.
yeah, it makes everybody happy, which I ain't trying to gain too much. I just want to be able to be competitive with some of the other guys out there. And as far as the canvas goes, like that, what was it, a 250 TBI KTM you were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
That's a little intimidating, and right out of the box, I mean, same price tag about, and I think it's got about 40 horse on me or so, or 30-ish horse. What was it, 60?
No, they make 47.
47? Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. We're good. But
Yeah. What do those make? 40 something? Low 40s?
I want to say 43, 40 something, and I think the racing bikes had about 50, high 50s, low 60s kind of thing.
Yeah, I knew they were in the 50s now. The 450s are getting kind of nuts. Why don't you give us something you like about each one and something you don't like about each one?
Torque, 450 torque. I mean, I can lay into it, and I don't think I could, on a gravel road or something, it just spun and spun and spun and kicked out like none other. I mean, it's a rocket, and it wasn't until he would hit the power band till I could see him kind of lurching back up into the party and everything. But
Yeah.
as well with that, brand new motorcycle, the Pioneer age cable clutch. I mean, it's light. I mean, you could two-finger
it
it all
does
day
feel
long.
good for a cable clutch. It really does.
But that, come on now, it's like this is a new bike.
Everything has hydraulic clutches, it seems like, anymore.
and
Except for maybe some of the Japanese stuff. So
I'd say that's about my biggest downside, and just ride height. Ride height kind of sucks on mine, and KTM jumped on that thing, and this is when it still had the crud gas and oil in it and everything, and you didn't have to wring its neck. It reminded you exactly what a power band felt like, and it was on its way, and definitely more comfortable suspension. But my biggest flaw with the KTM is due to the fact of life expectancy of a two-stroke in general, and Probably, I don't want to
just
kick
finicky.
stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to push a button, you know?
Yeah.
My knees get enough abuse hitting the trails and everything, fighting stiff suspension, and
That's gonna be my thing I like about the Honda is that electric start and the fuel injection. I've been riding a couple of different elevations and I've been starting to notice differences. I got a Raptor 662 you guys probably seen on the channel that it runs real good when I'm little above sea level, 1,000 foot or so. When we took it up to Black Hills and it was pretty doggy, and that fuel injection, it's a nice thing. It really is. I think something I don't like about the Honda, it's just a little stiff for me. I think that could be easily addressed too. You know, send the forks out, softer rear spring, or just turn down compression. Maybe you get away just turning down compression settings. But yeah, it's not terrible. Definitely a good time.
waiting for the day that they introduce on the fly suspension, because I mean those new razors, I think that's one of his biggest selling points on one of those is what a Fox.
Yeah, the Fox Live valve there's a few different companies using Fox Live valve and they call them all different things. Can-Am calls them the Live Shocks and Polaris calls it Dynamics.
Lock it up, hang a corner and sideways and smiling, but then go into some rocky terrain and push comfort and not have to do nothing.
She rides real nice. But back on topic here. Two-stroke. That's all I gotta say about that thing. I have to have a two-stroke in my life. There's just something about the power band that I love it.
That TBI, I hope nothing more than he acquires one, because
We want to experience that life.
fuel injected. You're saying the newer models had the electric control.
Yeah, power valve. Yeah, they got an electronic power valve on them, which is interesting. So
computers scare a lot of the older generations and such, but
we're gonna embrace it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a reason we don't carry a flip phone anymore, because, I mean, you don't necessarily want to type or move arrows. You can just touch exactly what you want. And if the computer can do that or look at your face and unlock things for it, I want the computer to tell my vehicle, hey, you need a little of this or a little of that, and we're going to give you all this, and it yields, holy smokes, good times. So,
Least favorite thing about the KTM? The frickin' carburetor. Now, if I could just get it set right, I'm sure it wouldn't bother me, but
maybe go in depth on what are problems facing this journey.
Since I bought this thing, the float adjustment's been absolute nightmare. Either you set it where it's high enough to keep the thing running, but it comes out the overflow when you shut the bike off. And so I get it set where it's low enough, the fuel level in the bowl's low enough where it doesn't come out the overflow, and then the bike won't run for more than 5 minutes. So I was fiddling with that, and I ended up breaking the little tube for the overflow off. So I ran a rubber hose off the bottom and up, so it would have to go up and out the hose. So it's basically like an external overflow instead of an internal overflow. And that's the way we've been riding it this weekend. It's not perfect. If that float decided to get stuck open, fuel would go into the engine instead of out the overflow. But we're riding it the way it is.
Technically, it's already going into the engine, just not the...
Be a little rich, but
not the right address. So
it's been a pain. Someday I'll figure it out, or maybe I'll put one of those Electron, or I don't know. There's a couple of different carburetors out there that claim that they
Electron. Yeah, that's I think the one with the clear float bowl. I mean, come on now, that's great. You can say, okay, I don't have to tear this apart and wear gas and tear a subframe apart and just look at it, kind of deal. But
that they claim those carburetors don't have to be adjusted for altitude either, which would be really nice. But that'll do. Go ahead.
As of now, as you can see, we got some daylight left. We got plenty of fuel left in the tanks, and I think we haven't even touched the side-by-sides yet. So we're gonna go see if we can break one of the machines or have a good time, and hopefully not ourselves. So
You thought we were done, huh? We ain't done. We're at a new place. We're in Shadron. We're gonna hit some single track. So I think we can all agree that if you're gonna ride on any sort of county roads or on the pavement, that's your machine right there. That one right there is your machine. So maybe this one's better in the single track, the tight wooded single track stuff. We're about to find out.
did somebody cheat and add a little extra something that's not quite KTM OEM quality on here? V-Force, is that like an accessories package that KTM offered, or?
Yeah, it's got V-Force 3 reeds now. So
It's okay, I'm sporting a new lowering link so I can touch the toes on the ground.
I also cleaned my silencer, so
You son of a gun! That's where I draw the line.
maybe it's better. Find out.
Yeah, just going out single tracking. Cameraman here, guys. On the old fat cat. Oh my goodness, guys.
All right, guys. Final thoughts on the 200EXC versus the 450L. This is after our little single track ride here. So I got Brendon here with me.
Hello.
We're gonna talk about this stuff. So first things first, I'm gonna go over the specs. So horsepower. There's some discrepancy on horsepowers, but
We didn't know what we were talking about at first. We'll admit it. We're man enough to say when we were wrong.
I'm not so sure the internet knows what they're talking about either. But the internet says, so the spec that I believe on the 200EXC is 35 to 40 horsepower. It varies from website to website. A lot of websites say 46 horsepower, which I do not believe. Don't know where that number comes from. I think that's the 250 number, to be 100% honest with you guys. I think the 250 EXC makes 46. But
In this reference, that reference, it really doesn't matter. You're still going to chime in there and tell us something a little bit different. It's pretty much the same. And then you add in our bad writing styles. We're still in the spectrum.
yeah. Onesie, twosies, right? All right, the 450L, the spec I believe on that is 41 to 42 horsepower. I have seen a dyno that it made 38 at the wheel. So she's definitely into the 40s at the crank. I think we can just assume that. Weights, wet weights. The KTM weighs 242.5 pounds, and the Honda weighs 289 pounds wet. So the Honda weighs
Dripping.
47 pounds more. Do you notice? I don't know. Is it really that much considering it has the extra lights and a battery and electric start and fuel injection and all that stuff?
To be fair though, the new batteries are half the size of your old wet soaked batteries. And then you also got to compensate for the driving comfortability. When I ride your bike all day, you're darn skippy. It's going to feel like a lighter bike because I'm used to it. I'm accustomed to bar reach and to the leaning and center of gravity. Then I jump on my bike again. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's this new machine? The clutch is stiff and blah, 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 blah. It's all variable of changes.
Right. So seat heights are similar. Seat height on the KTM stock is 36.4 inches. Seat height on the Honda stock is 37.1 inches. Now, in this part of the video, Brendon does have his 1-inch lowering link in, so, assume
It's a must.
inches.
When you buy the bike, just order that with it. Obviously, you ain't ordering a 4-year-old bike at this point anymore, but order that. But above all, get rid of the 2x4. I'm going to keep complaining about it because I have yet to do it myself. Don't listen to me. Do as I say, not as I do. Buy a comfort seat. It will lose an inch in height, and you will not wobble around for the next 3 days like you rode a horse. Bareback. Yeah, it's terrible. Honda, please do something.
And we're novice riders, so we're sitting on our seats probably more than we should, and we know.
Generous, I think a little bit, but yeah.
Beginner. I don't know.
I bought all the cool tech and equipment and stuff, so I look like a pro, so I'm going to play the part.
Okay, sure thing. And I have one more
spec that I kind of wanted to compare on these bikes, and that's the fuel tank capacity. Does it matter to you? I don't know. But the KTM fuel tank capacity is 2.5 gallons, and on the Honda it is 2.01.
Factory, that is. The KTM, does it have an aftermarket tank on it?
No, it's factory. They have the factory clear tanks on them. So.
And Danny was jealous of my riding gear, so he went out and bought this red flannel because secretly he's a Honda boy. It's cool.
Sure, we'll go with that.
But all in all, I think one thing that needs to be a shout out is all of these videos that we posted in the comparison were in very different environments, very different climates. And then we just had to throw in the Swiss Army knife of like wearing boots for the first time on this new bike, adding a lowering link for the first time. I even, unfilmed unfortunately, rode a bike for the very first time in the midst of all this, which was a two-smoke, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go show that KTM what's up. No, it was terrifying. So I'm gonna give that much more admiration to the KTM because partial to the rider, partial to the bike itself, it adapted well. I thought just anybody could jump on it and just ride it a little more attentively, but no, it was horrible. I thought I was gonna die. I think I called my lawyer.
So the 200EXE, what I think it is, in layman's terms, is a 125. The KTM 300 version of a 125. So it is the biggest, torquiest. So you lose some up top. It doesn't have quite the screaming up top power of a 125, but it's got that tractor mid-range that just makes it decent on the trails. Pretty good on the trails, in my opinion. So if you're looking for the smaller frame bike, biggest possible engine, that's the 200EXE, and that's kind of why I ended up with it.
And as you heard earlier in the video, Steven was on the old Fat Cat. That's like going into the ring with weighted gloves. That thing is for babies. It is the greatest bike ever made. He has some quarrels with it and some complaints, blah, 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 blah. Anybody that's ever rode a bike jumps on that thing, and it's like just walking stick down there.
I want to talk about this right here. So KTM struggling right here, and reason, bad rear tire and a power band. It doesn't have traction, and if it did have traction, it loses it as soon as the power band comes in. That F450, much smoother power delivery, which equals much better traction.
We all need to bear in mind there is almost 20 years of a difference between these two bikes that we are comparing, and the fact that they're two-stroke versus four-stroke, and the fact that mine is literally bone fresh and his is been rode. I mean, obviously somebody finds a cool bike, they go rip it.
It definitely has laxed a little bit of the maintenance, the tire, the fork, those things.
Going out and buying a used two-stroke is like a lottery ticket. Usually you end up with a winner, but it's only another lottery ticket. And in the two-stroke world, usually you end up with just enough compression to party a little bit longer. But you're gonna have to do something. And meanwhile, I'm over here on the high-end glamorous life of a brand new four-stroke high torque bike with 20 plus years of Honda ingenuity been implemented to their wow. So this is a part. Darn you GoPro for making the camera angles just so much more silky smooth, but I was riding the pony at that point. I was probably ankles dangling, front tire in the air, crying a little bit, but also smiling. It was happy tears, but also of terror.
I can attest that rock wall was pretty sketchy. That's why I was stopped up there watching it.
All you heard was like the silent of my catalytic converter, over mufflered, 450 underpowered. But he heard a little bit of revs and also heard me just squealing like a stuck pig as I rode that thunder all the way to the lightning to make a flash right past him. But yeah, it was terrifying. I'm not cool, folks. It was a ride.
A little log crossing. Should we talk about? So, a little bit of an advantage, I guess you could say, to the KTM is it has that PDS rear suspension. There's no link to get caught on logs when you go over top of them. Did we notice? No, he went over it. So
I think we were fine.
Also notice that Brendon's confidence climbs extensively when he ditches his mom's go-go boots and he's wearing a pair of Adidas indoor soccer shoes to just go ahead and throw that ankle bone right through the skin. But confidence is back, and I think it's a fine balance between confidence and security and safety.
Yeah.
But always wear protection out there, folks. All of it. And bear in mind that it's rather better to be slow and too safe than not enough, because, yeah. And I mean, you don't want to be a sissy at the end of the day, because then the guy on the worn out old 200cc two-stroke KTM is going to give you a bad time for spending way too much. But I will give admiration. He can ride that sucker, because I think that's our biggest stipulation. I think Danny would agree that we just need more time in the seat, really, to...
Yeah, these bikes are so much more capable than we are at this point. I mean, for beginner guys, we prove that we can get on and ride them, and we can have fun on them. But there's so much growth that we can do to our riding, and that's what we're gonna do from now on, I believe.
Just gotta get out, let it rip, tater chip, and stick to wheelies in the alleyway at 2 in the morning.
Heck yeah.
I keep looking back and seeing you stand up and everything, and I'm like, yeah, dude, same.
That'll do for this episode of My Shift Garage. Like and subscribe.
Till next time.